Hello, everyone. This is Nik and
Samantha.
there you go. We're here again for our regular informational morning for all of you parents out there who might need a little bit of that extra nudge in how to handle, deal, and make your children a little happier. Because we know, of course, Sam, that there's no manual for childcare, right? For being a parent, and that's what we want to do here to give you those pieces that might allow you to do a little better in your life, right? Sam, what's the topic of today?
Today we're going to talk about the importance of outside time or being useful outdoors with the spaces that we have.
Exactly. So, funny thing is, not sure if all of you out there know, but the Childcare Alberta does have requirements of outdoor space. Of course, every childcare center will be different. There are many ways to go over it when you're coming up with a center, creating, building, it doesn't matter, right? But normally, the rule of thumb, the standard is if you're going to open a daycare center, you should have an outdoor area or at least a green area or a park within walking distance. And Childcare Alberta is super nice to the point that if your business cannot have one of those, but there's still a way to go around it, they try to help out as long as, of course, there is a plan in place. Now, we here at Next Gen Care, we do have a playground area that is currently on phase 1. Hopefully phase 2 to come soon. Bigger playground, yay, right? And we know how physical activity, outdoor time, connection with something outside of, just a daycare center is positive. Sam knows me. I work most of the times in my computer in the office, so I'm not the best person to talk about it. That's why I'm going to hand over to Sam right now, just so she can give you guys a little bit of information on why it's important to have outdoor time.
So it is important for all children to get outdoor time. So that's going from even like infant care all the way through until like before and after school care, and even then incorporating physical activities and things like that for your children as they get older. It's only to maintain health and give them something to do, an extracurricular activity. So for infancy and toddler wise, it's important for them to get about an hour to 2 hours, if not a little bit more, depending on weather and timing, outside per day. And then that way they get the sunshine that they need, they get the fresh air that they need, and they have space to waste energy.
Mm-hmm. Which is sometimes very important, right? Again, as we all know, children are not fully in touch or even understanding their feelings, what they're, doing, etc. So it's not a bad idea just to give them at least that situation that many adults, not me, I'm outside of that, do, right? To use some level of physical activity, literally just to be mindful, to blow some energy, and to reestablish a little bit of a biological balance, right? Hormonal, etc. Now, but again, I'm not from Canada, as you guys know. I'm from Brazil. So back home, if you want to go out, you go out and basically going to scorch in the sun, right? Because it is hot, period. But I'm assuming there might be a little bit of limitations here, right, Sam? Especially in winter.
Yes. So there are days when we cannot bring the children outside, but that also depends on what their ages are as well. So for infant care and toddler care, that usually sits at about -12, and that includes wind chill, where we cannot bring them outside. For any children older than that, we can go up to -20, but that's also including the wind chill. So if the wind chill is saying it is -20, that means it's a blue day and we don't need to go outside. I am personally fine with this. But it is important for parents to understand that we are required to try and bring children outside as much as possible. So even if it is -17, if you know that your child is in the age bracket of bringing them, we need to have their snow pants, their hats, their toques, their any other thing that will make them warm enough to be outside for about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes if we can push it for that long.
Yeah. And you mentioned something important there because, again, we know life's busy. We all care about, of course, our work, reputation, making money. We all need those things to live, right? And sometimes, of course, a parent might be too focused in something that's just happening at work, right? Or a little overwhelmed for whatever situation is happening in their lives. And then out of the blue, they forget to bring, for example, winter clothes or a thicker jacket or even layer the child properly. When that happens, Sam, is it good practice for daycare operators to take that child out?
Not necessarily. I mean, I can say before COVID, at some points in some of the places I have worked, we did have extra clothing. So if those moments did happen, which we don't blame parents for, there's moments when you're very much on top of it, and then other days you're just not. But we used to be able to use extra clothing that we had either had donated to us or been left behind by other children to make sure that we could take the children out. Since COVID, those things have kind of changed. So the only expectation that we can recommend is if you have an extra sweater or an extra set of something at home, you can leave a pair with us. And we can always remind you to take it home. And if you need it, you can bring it back with you.
And again, that's just leave it at the cubby space of the child, and at least you parents don't have to worry about, oh yeah, it's minus 80 today. Maybe I should give little Jimmy a jacket, right? But on top of that, because again, as I mentioned before, some daycare centers like ours will have their little playground area set up, and some others might not. But they have, I don't know, like a nice neighborhood, some park. Are those activities like just a walk in the neighborhood or just let kids burn some energy into a green zone, are they considered outdoor time?
They are considered outdoor time. Sometimes what we can do is label it as a nature walk. So if it is about a 5 to 10 minute walk to the closest playground for that age group, we can then, look around the neighborhood, talk about the things that we see, point out things in nature that, children might not recognize on a daily basis. And then we bring activities with us to the park. So if it doesn't have a playground, or even if it does, we usually have tons of things like soccer balls, basketballs, anything like that to make sure that they are entertained. We also have programming where we should be planning about games that they can play as well. So not just hoping that they want to play soccer, but bring in a game of tag, or I used to do a game called Scream, where the children would run from one fence to another and just scream the whole time. And for them, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun to watch them do that, and it got rid of a lot of energy. And it took zero anything from me to prepare.
There we go. Now let's talk a little bit about the thing that I like, the biology of it, right? So I'm not sure, and I'm not going to get too technical here, but there is a stress hormone, right? And that stress hormone usually tends to build up when you stay doing basically nothing, or you don't have a lot of movement, and you just do like I do pretty much every day, sitting in the office working with paperwork, right? So when we take your children out for the playground, we allow them to do whatever physical activity, running, jumping, rolling, tumbling, playing. And usually, of course, we have more space than our regular internal space here. And that itself allows the stress hormone to be a little bit balanced. And then whatever tension that comes together with the stress hormone tends to be dissipated, right? We all know that in Canada, we are blessed here in Alberta, but we don't have a lot of sun all year round compared to Brazil, for example. So taking children out will help a lot because of vitamin D production, right? And we all know how we're sun dependent. So that is a very important thing. And of course, it brings a little bit of a change in routine that I particularly think is very important. That is from that more quiet control time where they're sitting or they're just doing, it's like silly, simple walks, 2-3 steps into something that has a little bit of a burst of activity, right? They go out, they stimulate their muscle. They try to, play with fine motor skills if there's a game for it. They try to develop their gross motor skills in doing all the functional play and stuff. So again, if it's a neighborhood walk or if it's a game of Scream or a tag, taking children out there will have huge benefits for the body, for the biology. Things that I should be learning from our children, but the paperwork just doesn't let me, which is very sad. All right. Now, let's switch a little bit here because sometimes, as you mentioned, there might be cold days or colder than normal days that we cannot do anything outside, right? For the sake, of course, of children's safety. But in our case, our daycare, our cubby area, for example, is pretty extensive, and we didn't put any furniture there for a reason. And that can be even classified as an indoors playground, as many daycares advertise out there. So can an indoor playground or play space fully replace an outdoor?
No, but it can help. It is like when we are utilizing that space for either toddlers or even older children, it is to make sure that they are getting out energy, they are having what can be referred to as a body break. So if they've been sitting and doing things and concentrating, so it is important for them to kind of just stop and take a minute, and we can do games like some of the children right now. They enjoy listening to Baby Shark. So, and then we do the movements with that, and then we can run around, and also doing things like the dragon hunt. So, I mean, those things are found all over YouTube or on discs and things like that where you can play them, and you just walk around with the kids and you make it an adventure for them. Now, with an older group of children, it does go a little bit harder to get them a little bit involved. However, when you find out what they like, you can base games around that too. So, still games like musical chairs is still one that keeps the children active, and it is one that they still really like to do. I find that competitive things get them to be
Going.
more, especially when they're a little older.
Yep, true. So that's it, folks. Nutshell here, as usual, outdoor time is important for children development, especially when it comes to, again, moving the body, releasing a little bit of the tension that's accumulated due to stress hormones and such, and most importantly, allowing children just to be exposed to nature, to the sun, to fresh air even, and allow them to burn some energy. All right? I think that's it for today, huh, Sam?
I think so.
Alrighty, so thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any questions. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and as usual, we'll see you in the next video.